So James, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Okay, my name is James Ter Beek. I live in the Netherlands. I've been practicing martial arts since the early 70s. I started with Wing Tsun with my teacher Rob Vogel. He was the person who was responsible for the development of Wing Tsun in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
And his teacher Wong Chen was one of Yip Man's first students.
Oh, okay.
After some time I left Rob, and he founded an association, and I left him for personal reasons, and I continued with Wong Chen. And I trained for approximately 30 years with Wong Chen,
wow.
And it was always very good, until I met my current teacher, Gert-Jan Ketelaar from the Netherlands,
Okay.
as well. And he had also trained in the Wong Chen system, but in the late 90s he switched to the Wong Chen Young system.
Okay.
That turned out to be much more effective.
Okay.
So it was the same system, Wing Tsun, but a completely different approach. So I decided to abandon the old system and started from scratch. So basically I had to unlearn all the things that I had learned.
Now the contrast between the old system that you were training in Wing Chun and the Wong Chen Young system,
Yes.
how do you see a really big difference?
Yes. So in the Wong Chen system we focused on the force was on the front of our hands, and in the Wong Chen Young system it's in the focus is on the elbows.
Okay.
So basically the hands can go all directions, but the elbows, if you keep them in the center, they won't deviate from the center. When we, for instance, we did Chisao, the focus was in front and not in the rear.
Okay.
So we are kind of putting force in the hand.
Okay.
So when, for instance, you have a Bong Sao and my focus is here,
Mhm.
and you drop your hand, I will drop too.
Okay.
Whereas in the Wong Chen Young system, the focus is on the rear. So when you drop your hand, it should automatically go forward, and it's not the focus should not be in the hands.
So it's more of the sensitivity. Like if this dropped, then if you feel this, you could go forward with
Yes,
the attack.
that's the basic idea.
Okay.
But if you're leaning too much,
Okay.
and your opponent removes his hand, then you will topple forward.
I know there's a big difference in Jeet Kune Do, the way they do Chisao
Yes.
and the way that traditional or Wong Chen Young
Yes.
system
So
do Chisao.
normally, you have one leg in front then.
Okay. So this book. All right. So tell me about it. Why did you decide to do this book?
I'm a librarian. I was a librarian. I'm retired now. And from the early beginning, since I started, I always took notes. I collected books. I wanted to know as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
The same for my teacher, Gert-Jan Ketelaar. He did the same. But most books that were out there were very, how would you say that, they were not complete. They were just a bunch of pictures, maybe a small text, and
Mm-hmm.
that was it. So we both had the idea to once write a book. I approached him and we shot pictures, but we both were too busy with the jobs and the teaching, so it never materialized.
Mm-hmm.
But then COVID came,
Of course. Yeah.
and then lessons were cancelled, we couldn't train anymore, so that's the time that's okay, now we go
Let's
for
start
it.
doing it.
Yeah.
Now I see that you did it in the warehouse, and I was actually questioning it. Like, I know you have a school for Wing Chun.
Yes.
Why did you do two places instead of just the school?
We had several places. We only took the equipment training part in the school,
Okay.
but for the rest we rented a hall,
Right.
an industrial hall, abandoned, where they often shoot movies, so we wanted to have that vibe.
Oh, the
Yeah.
vibe of
Yeah.
the location.
You could see it in the sparring sessions, that industrial environment,
Okay.
old factory. We
Okay.
shot some pictures near the water. So we wanted to have several settings and also several people.
Right.
So not only me and Gert-Jan, two old guys, but
So did anybody else contribute to this book?
yes, our students participated for the pictures.
Okay.
But we both wrote it, and we had a native speaker edit the book, and he helped us out a lot
Okay.
because basically our native tongue is Dutch.
Okay.
Our knowledge of English was not that good. So one example, I would say when you make the punch, you do this
With the three knuckles, right?
with the three knuckles, and we would say you snap your wrist.
Mm-hmm.
But snapping means something completely different.
Oh,
So
really?
Snapping, it's more like if you snap your wrist, you kind of break it.
Right.
So he told us, you should flick your
Flick the wrist.
flick the wrist. So
Got it.
those small details.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see this is all in English. Are you going to have a Dutch version?
No, we're not going to have a Dutch version,
Okay.
but there will be a German version.
German version.
Yes.
Okay. Why not Dutch?
Market is too small.
Okay. All right.
So English, of course, is
It is broad.
broad.
Okay.
And in Germany, there's also there are a lot of students. So.
Okay. Was there any issues of like putting a subject together within the book? Within this
No,
book?
actually, we wrote down our own experience, and
Right.
we didn't hold back anything.
Okay.
In a lot of books, you see that teachers hold back stuff.
Like information that they
It-
don't want to give out to them.
Exactly. So there are still teachers out there who charge for instance, for dummy techniques. There's a set of dummy techniques in Wing Tsun,
Okay.
and they charge per technique.
Oh boy, really?
Yep.
Oh.
And we just
You just put everything on this
everything
book.
what we know.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
Wong Chen Young, have you have met him or did you meet him?
I met him in '93. I
93.
went with my teacher Wong Chen
Okay.
to Hong Kong.
How was Wong Chen Young like?
Very nice, very gentle person.
Yeah.
I always thought of him as a fierce fighter, but he turned out to be very gentle.
Have you had a conversation with Wong Chen Young?
I talked to him, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I never trained him because, like I said, I trained with Wang Yu and they were both friends.
Oh, yeah.
My teacher, Wang Yu, he left
Okay.
after maybe 2 or 3 years.
All right.
And after that, he didn't train it anymore.
Oh,
While Wong Chen Young has been with Vietnam from the beginning
right.
till the end.
Right. When this book came out, like, did you feel had like a sudden, oh, this is finally done, and like now I could put this out in the world. You and your partner could put this out in the world.
Yes.
Like,
The last part was very stressful.
what was the last part?
So the last of the publishing,
Okay.
because we gave the Word document to the publisher and it had to be converted to a document with 2 columns. And since we had so much pictures, all the pictures started moving,
Oh no.
and then they made the corrections, and then other pictures were moving. So at the end, Gert-Jan, my friend, he went to the publisher and said, "Okay, I'm coming here to work with your designer,
Right.
and we get the job done."
So I just realized that John Wong, Wong Chen Young's son,
Yes.
he kind of co-signed this book. So tell me about that.
I've known John for a short time. When we were in Hong Kong,
Right.
actually that was the first time that
Oh, that was the first time?
that I met him.
Okay.
But Gert-Jan knows him very well,
Oh, okay.
and it was actually Gert-Jan who made contact for us so that we could meet him.
Okay.
And he was very honored to do the preface of this book for us. And
Now you also did a seminar because of the book with John. Right?
yes,
Yeah.
so that's why it was so important that the book was ready in
By
time.
the time that you.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing, is there anything in this book that we should look out for, or anything that we could look forward to when we open this book?
Well, for a martial artist with an open mind, he or she can get a lot of information out of the book, not only on Wing Tsun, but also how to improve yourself as a human being. Especially in the concepts part, there's a lot of information that's useful for all martial artists. But this book goes beyond Wing Tsun. There's a lot of useful information that all martial artists can use.
Now there's a text, hard cover. Are you gonna have a soft cover, like a smaller version of it, or are you just gonna keep it?
No, we have a limited. This is the limited edition.
A limited edition. Okay.
We want the first edition to be the best, so we had it hardcover,
Okay.
thicker paper.
Right. Yeah, the quality is very good.
Full
Very
color.
good. Yeah.
And after all books are sold, then it will be printed on demand, and we don't know how that will come out. So maybe it will be a soft cover.
Okay.
I don't know if the pictures will be in color, so we'll have to see.
It's a very great book, James. I'm glad that you have this book that everybody could, take a gander and see what's going on in the Wong Chen Young, especially with this book. If it's very complete,
Yeah.
then you're not holding back, like what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very glad that you came out with this book. Everybody, I'll give out the website and where you can get this book. And James, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right.